position in Paris. Armstrong now content to let Richard Virenque do all of the pacemaking, and the man who he's doing serious damage to, in fact he was doing serious damage to, because look at this, Jan Ullrich has recovered. He is coming back to the tail of the yellow jersey of Lance Armstrong. This man today from Germany, Phil, is riding on courage.
What we have seen in this year's Tour de France is all of the big names who normally appear to float around the Tour de France. They have all been put under pressure at some time or other. Ullrich suffered on the road to Hautacam. He's clearly suffering on the Jouplan today, but he has pedalled right back to the side of Armstrong. And it shows you, no matter how great a champion you are, it hurts just as much as if you're not.
Under their belt, Armstrong now is maybe going to try and put an end to that. Ullrich has come forward and he is accelerating, but the man who blew up the race today, Marco Pantani, is slipping away from the front.
And look at this, it looks as though Lance Armstrong is now in a little bit of trouble here. Look at that face. This is not the face of the man who has ridden the Tour de France so far. At the bottom of the climb, Armstrong, to me, looked as though he was going to eat the field alive. He doesn't look that way anymore.
Well, that was a double take there. You could just see Jan Ullrich looking over. He is probably somewhat surprised at this performance by Lance Armstrong, because earlier down the slopes he was left behind by the flying Texan, and now the tables have turned. Armstrong now is in difficulty, Phil. This is the first time we've seen any chink in his armour since the start of the Tour de France, and we're going to have to see whether or not Jan Ullrich has got any more power in his legs. I think, in fact, Armstrong has absolutely hit the wall.
Well, you know, every top cyclist has a bad day. It's up to the other riders to find out when and hit him when it hurts most. And it looks as though Ullrich is very surprised by the fact he has distanced Armstrong, because Ullrich himself was in trouble at the start of the climb. He appeared to be talking to Virenque, and he was certainly looking at him.
I don't think they can believe what is happening. Everybody thought this man was superhuman. Everybody thought that he was a man who was unbeatable. But right now, Phil, he is proving that he is immortal like any of us. You know, if you have a bad day in the mountains, you can lose many, many minutes. And Armstrong, for the moment, is going to have to relax, have to be calm, and have to try and make sure he doesn't lose too much time. Roberto Heras now has been joined by Richard Virenque, and in fact the man that they have both left behind is Jan Ullrich.
Well, we never saw the move by Virenque. He just kept the pace going. Ullrich, as far as we know, is still ahead of Lance Armstrong. But now these two are clear here, and they have seen each one of the riders alongside them systematically destroyed. So Virenque and Heras are really as free as birds now. Once over the top of the Jouplan, it's a full-on descent right down to the finishing line in Morzine.